To become so driven you can't sit still means making laziness feel worse than the hardest workout you've ever done. After 300 plus videos on Eastern philosophy for this channel, we discovered that Kaizen's improve or die mentality fused with Shin's restless spirit creates Kaizen Shin, a completely new framework. We've organized this into 5 clear steps that compound into irreversible change, starting with understanding how comfort became the thing that's killing you. Part 1. The rebellion of your spirit. You come home from work, collapse on the couch, open your phone, and feel absolutely nothing. Just this gnawing emptiness while watching other people live their dreams. You know you should be doing something, anything, but you don't even know where to start. That restlessness sits in your chest like a weight, but somehow you can't move. There was this guy, Luffy, who lived the exact same nightmare. Every morning, he'd watch runners pass his window while drinking his coffee. Guys his age, guys older than him, out there grinding while he sat there. Every evening, same story. Scrolling through YouTube, watching people half as smart making 10 times his salary. Building businesses, living lives that mattered. He felt like a caged animal, this burning energy with nowhere to go. But here's the thing, he couldn't figure out why. He had a decent job, decent apartment, decent life. So why did he feel like he was dying inside? Then Luffy discovered something that changed everything. He was reading about samurai training, how these warriors would train every single day, even in peacetime, even when there were no wars to fight. And there was this principle they lived by. Stillness is death, not metaphorical death, actual death. To the samurai, the moment you stopped moving forward, you started decaying. Your spirit begins to rot, your edge dulls, you become weak. And that's when it hit him. That restlessness he felt, that wasn't depression, that wasn't anxiety. That was his spirit rebelling against a life designed to sedate him. Think about it. Everything in modern life is built to keep you comfortable. Food delivered to your door, entertainment pumped into your brain, comfort on demand. You don't hunt, you don't build, you don't fight. You just exist. Your ancestors would look at your life and not understand how you're struggling. You have everything they fought for: safety, security, comfort. But that's exactly the problem. Comfort is the cage. Luffy realized he wasn't broken, he wasn't weak. He'd been drugged by comfort, drugged by convenience, drugged by a system that wants him fat, happy, and quiet. That restlessness, that was his warrior spirit trying to break free. That uncomfortable feeling when he sat still, that was his body screaming that this isn't what men were built for. We were built to move, to create, to struggle, to overcome. Luffy's first realization hit him like a punch to the gut. That restlessness wasn't weakness. It was his warrior spirit trying to break free from a life designed to keep him tame. He wasn't the problem. The cage was the problem. But here's where most people get stuck. Knowing you're caged doesn't break the bars. Understanding the prison doesn't set you free. Luffy needed to understand an ancient principle the Japanese never let the West fully comprehend. A principle that would turn his restlessness from a curse into the most powerful weapon he'd ever have. Part 2. The misunderstood fire. You've tried the whole self-improvement thing, the morning routines, the habits, the systems, and somehow you still feel exactly the same, like you're going through the motions, but nothing's actually changing. You do the work, but don't feel the transformation. Luffy went through the same thing. He tried everything the productivity world taught him, built habits, tracked progress, followed the programs, but something was missing. He was moving, but not transforming, working, but not becoming. Then he discovered something that changed everything. Luffy found the original Japanese texts about samurai training, not the translated corporate versions, the real ones. And what he discovered was that we've been using Kaizen wrong. The characters of Kaizen, yes, they mean continuous improvement, but we missed the most important part, the spirit behind it, the urgency, the life or death commitment. To the samurai, Kaizen wasn't a productivity system, it was survival. You see, the samurai understood something we forgot. In battle, in life, you're either getting stronger or you're dying. There's no maintenance, no steady state, no comfortable middle ground. This is why Miyamoto Musashi, the greatest swordsman in Japanese history, trained with wooden swords every single day until his death at 62, not to maintain his skills, but because stopping meant spiritual death. The moment you stop improving, decay begins. That's when Luffy understood. We took Kaizen and made it comfortable. We removed the fire, the desperation, the warrior's edge. Real Kaizen isn't about the size of your steps. It's about never stopping. It's about making improvement as necessary as breathing, not because someone told you to, but because stillness equals death. So Luffy started walking. Not as a habit, not as a goal, but because movement meant life and stillness meant decay. Some days just around the block, other days for hours. The distance didn't matter, the movement did. He recorded his first YouTube video with his phone propped against books. 0 views, terrible audio, didn't matter. Creating was living, consuming was dying. Here's what changed everything for Luffy. He stopped asking, how much should I do? And started asking, am I moving forward or am I decaying? If the answer was decaying, he moved, immediately, without negotiation. His walks got longer naturally, not through force, but because once you taste movement, stillness becomes unbearable. His videos got better, not through planning, through relentless creation. This is the difference between Western productivity and Samurai Kaizen. We focus on systems and optimization. They focused on survival. We ask, what's the best routine? They asked, am I getting stronger or dying? Every single day, Luffy woke up with one question, move or decay. And every day, he chose movement. Not perfect movement, not optimal movement, just movement. Because that's what Kaizen really means. The choice between growth and death, made every single day. But here's the problem. Movement without direction just creates busy fools. Guys grinding with no purpose, working hard but going nowhere. Luffy was missing the element that turns motion into unstoppable momentum, the piece that transforms random movement into focused power. Which brings us to part 3, Shin, the heart that refuses rest. You know that feeling when you skip the gym and somehow feel more tired? When resting makes you more exhausted than working? That's not in your head. That's your body trying to tell you something. Luffy discovered this the hard way. He'd take a rest day and feel worse than after his hardest walks. Sit down to relax, and his body would ache. Watch Netflix and feel more drained than after creating videos. At first, he thought something was wrong with him. Maybe he was overdoing it. Maybe he needed more recovery. But then, he found a concept that explained everything. Jin means heart, spirit, mind, but not the way we think about it. To the Japanese, Shin is the restless core of a warrior, the part that never fully relaxes, never fully stops. Think about your heart. It never rests. Even when you sleep, it beats. If it stops, you die. That's Shin, the part of you that must keep moving to stay alive. The samurai had another concept, Zanshin. It means lingering spirit. After an archer releases an arrow, his awareness continues. After a sword strike, the warrior's mind stays alert, never fully relaxing, never fully done. This isn't paranoia, it's aliveness. Luffy learned about the water principle. In Japanese philosophy, water that flows stays pure. Water that sits becomes poison. Movement is life. Stillness is death. And that's when everything clicked. That discomfort he felt when resting, that wasn't weakness. That was Shin. His warrior heart rejecting stagnation. His spirit refusing to rot. Something strange started happening to Luffy. His body began rejecting comfort like an allergic reaction. He'd sit down to watch TV and feel physically sick. Not tired, not sore, sick, like his body was screaming, this is poison. He'd try to take a day off from walking and his legs would literally ache to move, not from soreness, from the need to flow. His YouTube channel had 3 views, 3, but when he didn't upload, he couldn't breathe. It felt like drowning. Not uploading felt worse than getting 0 views. Because creating was flowing, not creating was dying. This is what nobody tells you about Shin. You don't develop it, you don't build it. It's already there, screaming under the sedation. Every time you force yourself to relax when your body wants to move, you're drugging your Shin. Every time you scroll instead of create, you're numbing your warrior heart. Every time you choose comfort over action, you're poisoning the water. Luffy stopped fighting it. When his body said move, he moved. When his mind said create, he created. Not because of discipline, because comfort had become more painful than effort. But here's where things got dangerous. When Luffy combined Kaizen with Shin, something violent happened to his entire existence. The constant movement of Kaizen powered by the restless heart of Shin created something unstoppable. Part 4, the violent awakening. You've probably noticed, dumber people are more successful than you, and you can't figure out why. They start businesses with 0 research, launch YouTube channels with terrible ideas, and somehow they're winning while you're still planning. Luffy noticed the same thing, then he figured it out. These people were too stupid to see failure as an option. While Luffy was calculating odds, they were already moving. They didn't think, they just did. But here's what really changed everything for Luffy. He discovered the consumption principle. You become what you feed your mind. Watch Netflix every night, you become a consumer. Listen to sports podcasts, you become a spectator. Your brain literally cannot tell the difference between what you consume and what you are. So Luffy did something violent. He deleted every sports podcast, every comedy show, every entertainment app, replaced them with running content and business audiobooks, unfollowed everyone except marathon runners and entrepreneurs. His entire digital world became people running at 5 a.m. and building companies. Nothing else. Then he adopted the today's 100% rule. Stop planning the marathon, just run today. Stop designing the perfect business, just create today. Because planning is procrastination dressed up as productivity. His environment became both his prison and his freedom. Prison because he had no escape from growth content. Freedom because when every input pushes you forward, movement becomes automatic. Here's what happened to Luffy's drive. He'd wake up, check his phone, see someone already running. Instant trigger to move. Open YouTube, see someone launching their business. Instant trigger to create. Every app, every notification, every moment pushed him toward action. His body started craving work like an addiction, not through discipline, through environment. When everything you consume is about growth, your brain rewires itself for growth. The restlessness that used to eat him alive, now it had direction. The Kaizen need to move combined with the Shin that never rests. And suddenly, he wasn't just driven, he was possessed. Luffy's fourth realization was simple. Kaizen Shin activated when he stopped giving himself options. When every input pushed him toward movement, stillness became impossible. You become so driven you can't sit still, not through willpower, but through environment. Burn the entertainment bridges. Make movement the only option. 6 months into this experiment, Luffy crossed a line that changed him forever. A line that once you cross, there's no going back. Part 5. The point of no return. Imagine waking up and not needing motivation, not needing discipline, moving toward your goals like gravity pulls you down. That's not fantasy. That's what happened to Luffy. 1 year after discovering Kaizen Shin, Luffy was unrecognizable. He'd completed his first marathon. His YouTube channel hit 50,000 subscribers. But that's not the real transformation. The real transformation was this. He literally couldn't sit still anymore. Not creating felt like suffocating. His old friends didn't recognize him. They said he'd lost his mind, called him too intense, said he needed to find balance and learn to relax. They didn't understand. Luffy had crossed the point of no return. He discovered something called Shugyo, the warrior's path. But here's what nobody tells you. Shugyo isn't something you do, it's something you become. You don't practice being a warrior. You become one, permanently. This is why Musashi trained until his death, why samurai practiced harder in peace than war. Not because they were disciplined, because stopping meant spiritual suicide. Once you activate that warrior spirit, turning it off feels like dying. Luffy finally understood why successful people seem insane to average people. It's not that they're motivated, it's that they've rewired their entire nervous system. Comfort feels like poison, rest feels like death, balance feels like decay. Balance is what average people tell themselves to feel better about wasting their life. There is no balance between growth and decay. You're either moving forward or dying slowly. Some called it obsession, others called it unhealthy. Luffy called it being alive. Because here's the truth. Once you activate Kaizen Shin, you can never go back. Your baseline changes. What used to be comfortable now feels like suffocation. What used to be relaxing now feels like decay. You become someone who creates because not creating hurts, who moves because stillness is agony, who builds because consuming feels like dying. This isn't a phase, it's not a habit you can break. It's a fundamental rewiring of who you are. Luffy's ultimate realization hit him one morning while running. Kaizen Shin isn't a practice or a habit. It's a permanent alteration to your nature. Once activated, you can never go back to being satisfied with stillness. And honestly, he wouldn't want to. That restlessness you feel right now, that discomfort with your comfortable life, that's not a problem. That's your Kaizen Shin trying to break free. Luffy listened to his, fed it, let it consume him, let it transform him into someone his old self wouldn't recognize. The question is, are you ready to become someone who can never be comfortable again? Because once you activate Kaizen Shin, once you become so driven you can't sit still, there's no off switch. But maybe that's exactly what you need. Maybe comfort was never the goal. Maybe the goal was to become so alive that stillness feels like death. Your spirit is already rebelling. Your Shin is already restless. Your Kaizen is waiting to activate. All you have to do is stop fighting it. And if you want to activate your own Kaizen Shin, I created the Musashi Challenge. 5 weeks to build discipline that doesn't break. link in the description. But only get it if you're ready to become someone who can never be comfortable again.